Hey adrenaline junkies, welcome to Police Pursuit. Today we launch a new, fresh series, When People Messed with the Wrong Cops. Every reckless choice flips on instant justice mode. Buckle up. Let's roll right now, folks. At approximately 6 p.m. on May 29th, troopers in Franklin Township attempted a stop on a speeding GMC envoy suspected in a prior incident.
We're trying to box her in. And as you see that she's only going around us.
The driver refused and fled, weaving through traffic. But under pressure, every correction became more unstable.
We're coming up to the rest area.
One evasive move turned into overcorrection. The SUV drifted off, snapped back across the roadway, hit the median, and rolled multiple times.
Start EMS. Start squad, single fly, purposely driven off the red, rolled over about 6 times.
No pit, no contact. Just physics taking over. The pursuit ended the moment control was lost, proving that at speed, failure doesn't need assistance. On June 25, 2024 in Jonesboro, Sergeant House joined an active pursuit near Terra Boulevard. The fleeing vehicle pushed through multiple roads, heading straight toward a heavily congested intersection, where one mistake could trigger something far worse.
I'm sorry, what's your exact? 16, what's your location?
The driver kept the speed up, weaving through dense traffic. The gap between units tightened, then stretched again as officers searched for the right position. Pressure kept building second by second, but the window to end it safely hadn't opened yet.
Black girl, white shirt, black pants, low haircut, no shoes.
Oh, no, thank you.
Then it did. House held the line closed in from behind, pit, clean and controlled. The impact broke the vehicle's balance instantly. It snapped sideways, spun off its line, and came to a stop just before the situation could spiral.
Airport check-in. Hey, where you at?
Okay, so I'm going to take.
Play names in pursuit.
16, where you at? I'm good. I'm still at the entry point where the bush line took off at. I'm clear. Airport check-in.
Latron Taylor tried to run, but the moment a K-9 unit was deployed, it was over. The passenger was secured, both suspects taken into custody. This time, it ended in time. But the pattern doesn't change. Every second you keep running, you're only getting closer to the point where control is no longer yours to keep. On April 11th, 2025 in Pleasant Prairie, the night was torn apart by flashing red and blue lights as a vehicle, previously fleeing from Winthrop Harbor, continued its desperate escape. Behind the wheel was Joshua McCarthy, 38, choosing to accelerate instead of stop.
We're coming up to Sheridan Road. Speeds are about 50. Little red light, Sheridan. Still westbound.
The car sliced through traffic like a blade, swerving, cutting lanes, even pushing into oncoming traffic. Each reckless move forced others into split-second reactions, turning an ordinary road into a zone of constant danger.
Continue walking through the roundabout, through the road.
With no safe way to let it continue, officers made the call to deploy pit. A precise strike to the rear quarter, just enough to break control. The vehicle spun, rolled multiple times, and came to a sudden, violent stop within seconds.
Fire.
5 occupants were injured but survived. The driver now faces a long list of serious charges. The lesson is clear: one reckless decision can turn a routine drive into the thin line between safety and tragedy.
Put you in handcuffs for now, okay? Keep coming! Crawl out! Put your hands up! Hey, get on the ground! Crawl out! Crawl out! Crawl out!
On July 8, 2022, authorities were alerted to a red Hyundai Elantra fleeing from Texas into Arkansas on I-30. During the pursuit, occupants threw packages of white powder from the vehicle, leaving a trail behind in an attempt to destroy evidence. The car maintained speeds over 130 miles per hour, aggressively weaving through lanes and repeatedly using the shoulder to stay ahead. Multiple spike strip deployments were attempted, but the driver narrowly avoided each one at the last second.
Somebody got a chance of it.
Pressure built as units set up ahead. When the driver suddenly swerved onto the median to avoid another spike strip and then merged back onto the roadway, a gap opened. A unit moved in pit. The contact was precise, sending the vehicle into a spin before it came to a complete stop. Both suspects were taken into custody. At that speed, the pursuit was never sustainable, only a matter of how it would end. In extreme situations, recklessness can only buy time, not change the outcome. Despite the suspects constantly pushing limits, speed, evasive maneuvers, law enforcement maintains control through strategy and coordination.
Don't move. Work on the driver. Work on the driver.
Call the driver to you!
Officer Zachary Hardman in Little Rock was officially cleared of wrongdoing, following a pursuit that ended in a devastating crash on September 15th. The suspect, Jordan Matthew Vandenberge, fled in a stolen vehicle at high speed, pushing the situation beyond control.
Are you passing the lot?
We're in the parking lot, getting back out on Tico.
In a critical moment, the vehicle slammed directly into another car. The impact was violent. The Nissan was thrown into the air, rolling multiple times as debris scattered across the roadway, before sliding onto the sidewalk. The entire frame of the vehicle was severely mangled, nearly torn apart by the chain of collisions.
And he just knocked out. Start meals.
Dashcam footage confirmed the officer was not close enough to have caused the crash. Out of control, the vehicle struck Trendia Horton, killing her at the scene, while Natalie Horton suffered serious injuries. It all happened within seconds, but the consequences were permanent.
So we have two pedestrians hit. You okay? Can you breathe? Okay?
The lesson here is not just a warning, it is reality. One decision to flee at high speed can end in total destruction, not only for the driver, but for innocent lives caught in its path. On April 9th, 2024, Officer Palmer of the Monroe Police Department initiated a stop on a vehicle with illegally tinted windows. Routine at first glance. But the driver, later identified as Daniel Lee Campbell, had no intention of complying. The moment contact was imminent, he accelerated and fled, turning a minor violation into a high-risk pursuit.
Double Springs and Davie.
Hey, if you continue, there's a sharp turn to the right down by the reservoir. Just be advised.
Campbell drove aggressively, pushing through traffic and making erratic maneuvers to break away. The longer it continued, the more unstable the situation became. Each turn sharper, each decision more reckless. With the risk to the public escalating, officers made the call to end it. A unit closed in from the rear quarter, matched speed briefly, then committed. The pit maneuver was clean and well-timed. Contact to the rear panel broke traction instantly. The vehicle snapped sideways, rotated across the roadway, and came to a complete stop before the driver could recover.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
But even then, it wasn't over. The moment the vehicle stopped, Campbell threw the door open and ran. Officers and a K-9 unit deployed immediately, tracking him through the area. Within a short time, he was located, taken to the ground, and placed into custody without further incident.
Down on the ground, down on the ground.
He was later booked on multiple charges, including felony fleeing and eluding, drug possession, reckless driving, and obstruction, along with ties to a prior domestic violence shooting. The outcome follows a familiar pattern. What starts small escalates fast. Every second of fleeing adds risk, adds charges, and narrows the outcome. In the end, control is always taken back, just not by the one trying to escape.
That's all I saw.
I know, I drove past him, I was like, is that?
Yeah.
On January 1st, 2022, while patrolling in Fulton County, a trooper was stopped at the intersection of Forsyth Street and Trinity Avenue when he observed a silver Lexus SUV suddenly drive into his lane. The vehicle then reversed through the intersection and stopped, blocking traffic. Suspecting the driver might be impaired, the trooper activated his emergency lights and exited his patrol vehicle to make contact. However, before he could approach, the Lexus suddenly accelerated away, initiating a pursuit.
Southbound for site. We just silver Lexus SUV cleaning primary 4225 East 1055 exit head on cut off.
The chase continued as the vehicle traveled south on Forsyth Street, turned onto Memorial Drive, and then proceeded onto Pryor Road in an attempt to escape. When an opportunity presented itself, the trooper executed a PIT maneuver, causing the Lexus to spin and come to a stop in the roadway. Let's take another look at the Decisive police impact, the moment that completely stripped the vehicle of any chance to keep fleeing. When the driver attempted to continue fleeing, the trooper used his patrol vehicle to pin the Lexus against a guardrail, effectively ending the pursuit. The trooper then drew his weapon and maintained a safe position while ordering the driver to exit the vehicle.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your other hand behind your back.
The suspect initially complied, but suddenly ran back toward the vehicle and attempted to flee again. The trooper immediately deployed his taser, successfully subduing the suspect and placing him in handcuffs. The suspect was later transported to Grady Memorial Hospital for medical evaluation, before being taken to the Fulton County Jail for booking. On February 2nd, 2022, in Milwaukee, police locked onto a black Jeep tied to an armed robbery. The moment officers moved in for a stop, the driver hit the gas and fled, launching into a high-speed run through city streets.
Speeds are approximately 35 miles per hour. Be going northbound 57th Street from Hampton. Traffic is late. We're going to be continuing northbound on 77th Street crossing Lucier, going eastbound on Lucier from 77th Street. Speeds are approximately 40 miles per hour. Traffic is late, roads are dry.
The Jeep tore through traffic, weaving aggressively, blowing through intersections, ignoring every signal. Cars scattered, brakes slammed. Yet the vehicle kept pushing forward, forcing its way through cross traffic without hesitation.
Speeds are 40 miles per hour. In the U-turn area, go back southbound on 76th Street from Thurston. Traffic's medium, roads are dry. We'll be going back southbound on 76, crossing Silver Spring. So, thank you, Grand Cherokee Club, for robbery carjacking.
Then it happened. At a busy intersection, the Jeep didn't slow. It drove straight into crossing traffics. The impact was explosive. Metal collided at full force, extending the Jeep, flipping violently, rolling across the roadway as debris burst outward in every direction.
Southbound on 76, crossing Boblack. Accident 76.
The vehicle came to rest wrecked and overturned. Officers rushed in, secured the scene, and took the suspect into custody. No pit, no controlled stop, just a split-second decision that ended in a crash no one could take back. On October 23, 2024, in Mahoning County, a suspicious vehicle caught the attention of authorities. And the moment officers moved in, it fled. The pursuit quickly spilled into Portage County along I-76, as the driver kept pushing the accelerator, ignoring every command to stop. The vehicle tore through Suffield Township, then Hartville, Brimfield Township, and Mogador at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. Spike strips shredded the front tires and the car began to shake violently, yet it kept going, dragging itself forward and leaving chaos behind.
Further traffic clears Livinger. Hits a pit on him. He lost his front driver's side tire. We're going southbound on Cleveland Ave. Passing Curtis. Speeds are 41.
On South Cleveland Avenue, as the space tightened and options disappeared, the moment came. A K-9 unit closed in, lined it up, and executed pit. The precise contact broke the vehicle's balance instantly. It spun sideways, slid across the roadway, and came to a dead stop.
Pit successful. Pit
1947, update 39.
high risk not occurring.
The doors opened, but there was nowhere left to run. 2 suspects were taken into custody at the scene, then transported to Akron City Hospital. Inside the vehicle, methamphetamine was found, bringing the pursuit to its inevitable end. The harder the escape, the closer the outcome.
Cleveland and Eder, Cleveland and Correction, Cleveland and Albright.
Okay, we're gonna get you an ambulance. Let me double up the cuffs so they don't get tied on you, okay?
Yeah.
How you doing, man? See ya. Yeah, go ahead. All sorts of fine. Yeah, let's change up on the count of 3, okay?
Here. How? I can't do this. I've never done this before.
You're good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't worry about that.
I got one jump
At approximately 1:35 a.m. on September 14, 2024, Trooper Ryan Earhart spotted a white Nissan Sentra traveling on US 41 with an expired license plate. When emergency lights and sirens were activated, the driver refused to stop and instead fled at high speed, driving into oncoming traffic and running multiple red lights, creating a serious danger to everyone on the road. The vehicle quickly turned the roadway into chaos, weaving aggressively through traffic and speeding through a populated area near a university, where students and vehicles were still present. With each maneuver, the situation became more unstable, yet the driver continued to push forward. The pursuit extended into Sarasota County. Near Imperial Drive, officers made the decision to intervene. A well-executed pit maneuver sent the vehicle out of control, crashing through a roundabout median and pedestrian signs before finally coming to a stop, heavily damaged. Officers quickly detained both the driver and passenger. The driver, Lisa Joanne Hoffacker, showed clear signs of impairment and refused sobriety testing, while the passenger admitted prior alcohol and drug use.
Get on your stomach right now. Get on your stomach right now. I do that. Get on your stomach.
This incident serves as a stark reminder that impaired driving combined with the decision to flee only escalates danger beyond control. A single reckless choice can put countless lives at risk, and more often than not, it ends in a crash or something far worse. On March 6, 2021, while on patrol in Fulton County, an officer positioned at the intersection of Andrew Young International Boulevard and Centennial Olympic Park Drive suddenly heard the roar of an engine followed by the sound of tires burning. Moments later, a black and red Dodge Charger came into view at high speed, confirmed by Atlanta units to be a fleeing vehicle. The pursuit escalated quickly as the Charger sped down Lucky Street and turned north onto Ted Turner Drive. At the intersection with Baker Street, traffic was stopped at a red light. The driver initially slowed behind the line of cars, but then suddenly accelerated, ramming the vehicle in front to push through the intersection and force a path forward before continuing the escape.
We just wrecked into a vehicle on Ivan Allen.
The chase continued along Ted Turner Drive with the driver running multiple red lights. At Ivan Allen Boulevard, the suspect attempted a high-speed left turn, lost control, and slid wide, nearly striking 3 pedestrians who had to jump out of the way at the last second. Completely out of control, the Charger veered into oncoming lanes and slammed into a vehicle stopped at a red light, disabling itself on impact. The officer immediately exited the patrol car, drew his weapon, and ordered the driver out. The suspect, identified as Jimmy Turner, was taken into custody without further incident. The crash scenes were split and handled by responding units, while Turner was transported to the Fulton County Jail, bringing a reckless and dangerous pursuit to an end.